didn't even know it at the time, but the very first time we ever heard Lazy Bone or Bone Thugs and Harmony, Lazy Bone accurately predicted the future when he said this. But I gotta get mine, so scream my mo and let me hear ya holler. Not about that mighty dollar, roll with the bone of thug or follow. At the time, I just thought Lazy was saying more thugs will follow his lead. But just as he told us on the lead single of Creeping on a Come Up, he also told us again on the lead single, which was leading up to eventually becoming East 99 Eternal on First of the Month. Get live with it, both us poetic hustlers in the graveyard shift on the fire. And then at the very end of Eternal, we hear shots to the double Glock. And at the time, we still had no idea what was about to happen. If you're down a glide and slide on the clear, then let's ride. Tony Tone, roll with Bone on the dark side. Think about how this was planned out. The very last song on Eternal is Pop Pop giving up shots to the double Glock, the whole Mo Thugs on it, right? That ends, and the very next track, really, if you go in sequence, album-wise, would be Mo Thugs Family Scriptures. So it's like the whole thing was planned from the jump. Mo Thugs will follow. When I saw this ad in the Source magazine, I didn't know what to make of it. I thought it looked amazing. Mo Thugs, Family Scriptures, the font looked like the Bone Thugs and Harmony font. The pyramid, I was so thrilled about it with the Alpha and Omega symbol in the background, the fist on the pyramid, and then it said featuring Bone at the bottom. And I was like, it says featuring Bone, not Bone Thugs and Harmony. And keep in mind, I'm still coming through the trauma of getting Faces of Death, thinking that I was buying East 99 Eternal, seeing on the front of Faces of Death featuring the 5 original thugs. So the specific language suddenly was extremely interesting to me, and I didn't know what this was. Mo Thugs featuring Bone? Is this really going to come out? Mo Thugs Family Scriptures dropped on November 5th, 1996, the night of the election between Bill Clinton and Bob Dole, and the same day Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory came out. Depending on how you view Faces of Death, on whether or not it counts or not, Mo Thugs Family Scriptures was the 4th or 3rd full-length Bone-related album to drop. Although you might say Creeping on a Come Up was an EP. But I point out that Mo Thugs Family Scriptures comes out a little over a year after the Holy East 99 Eternal, and there are Bone fans out there that say they like the entirety of East 99 Eternal except for shots to the double Glock. And I've always been like, what are they signaling? And they don't respect the Mo Thugs Family Scriptures or any of the Mo Thugs albums. They don't count it as part of Bone lore. It's like if it ain't Bone Thugs and Harmony, it doesn't count. And this album drops in between East 99 Eternal and Art of War. I mean, this is in the absolute middle of the reign of Supreme. And there's Bone members on Shots to the Double Glock, and there's Bone members on Mo Thugs Family Scriptures. I've been trying to figure out what it is, and I thought to myself, I wonder if the people that don't appreciate Mo Thugs and even strangers point out that they don't like Shots to the Double Glock, which that's so bananas to me. The only conclusion I could come to of what they are virtue signaling out there is that if Busy Bone is not on the song or on the album, then they don't count it. I wonder how they feel about Strength and Loyalty and Thug Stories and Bone for Life. And hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion and have their own taste in music, but there's always like this tinge of malice where people go out of their way to say, oh yeah, Eternal is a flawless album except for Shots to the Double Glock. And then, oh yeah, no, Mo Thugs, no, I don't like that. I don't like it. To the point where it just seems like there's an agenda behind it or like a faction behind it and that there's something built into making these statements. But when this came out, this began, even back in 1996, the demand by Bone fans to have the original formula of Bone Thugs and Harmony, all 5 True Thugs, and DJ Unique. And anything that strayed from that formula, people got mad about. Now, what makes this amazing is how perfect Ruthless Records did this. They were introducing all new characters, right? And so first you had to learn the 5 True Thugs from the Double Glock: Lazy, Crazy, Busy Wish, Flesh. and DJ Unique. So, and you had to learn everything about Cleveland, everything about East 99 and all that. And so this is like the ultimate spinoff. You get to meet the actual people that lived in St. Clair, from the wasteland, from the double Glock. Here's you like Bone? Well, here's all their friends. In quite possibly the most hip-hop thing to ever do, Bone did with this album. Everybody says, hey, when you come up, don't forget about the homies. Well, not only did Bone not forget about the homies, they brought all the homies to get on this compilation album, and they've never really been celebrated or heralded for this effort. I mean, think about it. They made it huge with Eazy-E, and from the get-go, from Thuggish Ruggish Bone, Lazy was saying, yeah, Mo Thugs will follow. On first of the month, get ready for the Poetic Hustlers in the Graveyard Shift. The immediate thing I noticed, and I'm going to get into the booklet, but I know when I first popped it in, the feeling and the vibe of this album was different by a lot, but from Creeping on the Come Up and East 99 Eternal. And the reason being is it's a whole different production staff. Primarily Bobby Jones, Crazy Bones listed, and you got Romeo Antonio and Archie Blaine. Even though it was a different production staff, the consistency and vibe of this Mo Thugs Family Scriptures album, it's so consistent throughout that I've always marveled at it, how it invented a whole other sound. I also think that the sound between Creeping on the Come Up, Eternal, and Art of War are vastly different from each other as well. In fact, the EQ of Art of War is so different than the EQ on Eternal, and Creepin' is different from it. So all their albums are different. It's consistent. It's its own sound. That's what struck me when I first listened to it. I was like, man, this is its own, like going in, you want more of Eternal. And so when you initially get this, you're like, yo, it's a totally different sounds, different production staff. Chain Gang remaining the same. So I wonder if Chain Gang, I wonder if had Eazy-E stayed alive, if Silky Fine and Lazy Bone would have had a Chain Gang album with GBM. But then you're just impressed with it, how they recrafted a whole new style. This cover, we've gotten used to it by today's standards, but this shit was so fresh at the time. They did a great job. They're giving you photos, so it's like, all right, the Poetic Hustlers, that's these guys. All right, neat. Got some liner notes with it. Then, oh, okay, too true, but I see 3 people. Okay. Graveyard Shift. All right. And then you're saying like, great, but Poetic Hustlers in the Graveyard Shift on the first. Man, okay. Even though, you could say, hey, Johnny Boy, you didn't see that on Shots to the Double Glock? Dog, when Eternal came out, there was just so much to take in. I seen it, but it didn't click. Because there was no pictures. You know what I'm saying? Now I got pictures. Now I can see it. Ken Dog. You're seeing that now, and you wonder, is this the same shot from Pillar? Did Lazy Bone go recapture the spirit in Pillar, or is this somewhere else? The Pillar music video from Lazy's latest album. All right, Trey. And then it's like, all right, are these the girls from CROSSROADS? I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, these are the thoughts at the time. Soldier Boy. Fleshbone. All right, I'm flashing back now. Okay, so what I'm going to say may sound stupid by today's standards. I'm giving you the thoughts I'm having in 1996 when I'm seeing this. I'm seeing Fleshbone, right? So we just went through this booklet, and you see Poetic Hustlers, Graveyard Shift, Too True, Trey, Soldier Boy, Kenda, and then you see Fleshbone, right? But there's no Crazy Bone, there's no Wishbone, there's no Lazy Bone, but there is a Flesh and Bone. And on the back of the disc, you see Flesh and Bone in front of all the Mo Thugs. So my thought was, okay, so Flesh, Forever the Fifth, dog. He's only on a couple songs on Creepin', a couple songs on Eternal. So is this his group? Is like Fleshbone the leader, the primary member of Mo Thugs? I mean, after all, he looks like he's the leader in the photograph, and they have him singled out as an individual member here. But then on the album, he's only on like 2 songs. So I was really thrown off at how to interpret Flesh and Bone having a full page panel and no panels for Crazy and Lazy. And then they even had, this was so good to get viewers caught up to speed of like, all right, hey, Bone
Now you're going to know Mo Thugs. And they even sequenced everything nice. This picture on the back was the bomb, bro. It was like Flesh was the leader of all the Mo Thugs, and it's like they had him on assignment. Like, all right, Flesh, you're the fifth dog. So the fifth dog, he's on manager duty or general duty. You gotta lead all these guys. Then seeing this, these were my exact thoughts when I looked at this. I remember thinking, someday in the future, if these are real symbols, we're going to be able to decode this and figure out what it says on here. And I always wondered, what it said. I thought, how disappointing would it be? But also it would make sense if all of this was basically the track titles. That was my theory. So I don't know. First question is, has anybody decoded this? Are these real characters? Does anybody know what these symbols are? Did anybody ponder about this and wonder, like, man, someday in the future, there might be a Rosetta Stone or some kind of technology that we could just put something on here and have it translate? I did try using AI when it first came out. I haven't tried it lately. When ChatGPT first came out, I uploaded, actually, maybe it was Google Gemini. I uploaded a picture of this, but it said it wasn't anything. But anyway, this was so cool and consistent with, you got the pyramid, right? Ancient Egypt. The hieroglyphics, although this might be like Arabic or Aramaic or something. I don't know the language. I don't know. Is that Hebrew? Not sure. But the consistency with the theme, thought it was great. Now, this moment right here, I know this happened for all of you, right? You pull the disc out and you go, oh, snap. This is back when photographs mattered. We take pictures all the time now with our phones. They've lost their value. But back then, getting photos, especially really cool ones like this, how many times did you, if you're a rapper and you got in a mixing studio, did you do this pose? I know you did it. I did it, and a bunch of my friends did it. This picture right here, man. This friggin' picture was so important at the time. This was the pick. This pick was really cool too, with Flesh on the back, and just the outfits they had, really cool. Plus, it's got a desert theme to it, keeping with the Egypt. But this pick, if you were around at the time, this made Crazy Bone. All right, this is another thing to think about too. At the time, nobody was a standout from the group yet. I mean, people, there was only Eternal really to go off of, and Creeping on a Come Up. And everybody killed it on Eternal, right? So it's like, there was, you didn't really know who emerged yet. I didn't know who emerged yet, but when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was a Lazy Bone Mo Thugs thing. Lazy's the one that kept repping Mo Thugs, but I got Crazy behind the boards here. All right, and then when I look at the track listing, Crazy's on like 6 songs and Lazy's only on 3 of them. This just occurred to me. Lazy Bone is not depicted anywhere in this album cover at all. I thought Mo Thugs was his. So I wasn't really sure, but obviously, like, down the road, we found out that Mo Thugs is a Lazy and Crazy venture. But the next thought I had, this was like the very next thought I had. I was like, bro, now the Eternal cover was amazing with the map and all that. But I remember thinking, like, I wish Eternal had all these panels. I thought this artwork was so fantastic. Just having the booklet, and just the way this artwork looked. Now, again, the Eternal CD is amazing with like, it's not a hologram, but you know how the Eternal disc looks. And pulling out the CD and seeing the Escape from Hell picture of Bone on the bottom of Eternal was awesome too. But I just felt like this was on par. As iconic as the Eternal album cover is, due to all the cryptic stuff in it, this Mo Thugs album cover, a lot of effort was put into it, and I don't think it's appreciated for what this did. This properly introduced Mo Thugs in a way that, like, Seven Sign, outside of the Heavens movie cover, it never got its proper introduction. Thugline maybe, but this is the template. If you're putting out a compilation CD, this compilation album made so much sense. So many people, the success off of this created this new compilation market, and everybody started dropping compilations after that. But they didn't have like a central theme. They didn't have consistency with the whole thing. I mean, this is the only thing that's kind of inconsistent with the rest of this. You got that, it's consistent with that, and those are consistent with the back. While that's not consistent, at least it still has the same color scheme, but I don't care. This pic right here was everything back then. What this picture said to me, which we later found out to be true, was Crazy Bone saying, here's my creation. This one is all me. This is my creation. I'm giving it to you. And I thought, wow, this guy looks like he's really dedicated to the studio, to the job, to the career of being a musician, of being an artist. And I didn't see the other guys in the studio. And later on in life, we find out that Crazy was always the first one in, last one to leave for Art of War. Like I said, as I'm going on and on about how much this photo meant to me, just seeing it is when I started to say, Crazy's the man. He's the one fully dedicated, and this is his expression of, this is my offering, this is my spirit to you, this is my creation, this is from the soul, this is me giving you a part of me. But also, it was him saying, thank you for letting me live my dream, thank you for allowing me to give you a piece of me. But also, it was a abracadabra, ta-da, here it is. And now I shall unveil my next offering, my next magic trick, Mo Thugs, Family Scriptures. I know there's some people, because I've seen this in the comments over the last 28 years or however long it's been. There's people that don't appreciate this album. It's such a mind-blowing thing when I see people that don't appreciate this thing. They don't appreciate just Mo Thugs in general. And I'm like, yo, this album, if you remove this album out of the mix, you probably aren't the same Bone fan that you are to this day. So before I even get into all the songs on the album, I'm going to tell you right off the bat what I mean by this. There's a moment on this album that changed not your life, but changed your soul, changed your spirit. You felt the inner parts of your intestines and your endocrine system, maybe. The insides of your body changed at the greatest crescendo climax in the entirety of the entire 30-year Bone collection. And me saying this right now, I know most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, you know the exact moment I'm talking about. And I want to hear your recollections of this moment. And that moment I'm talking about was the moment you heard track 5, Mo Murder by Crazy Bone. Right off the bat, it was strange for me to see Mo Murder, Crazy Bone. It was the first time I saw these guys listed individually. I always seen their names, but we never saw just Crazy Bone by himself. And the song kicks in, and it's not a rap song. You're not even sure what you're hearing.
They want to see the bone go. They want to see the bone go. They want to see the bone go. They want to see the bone long go.
And it's building. And he's singing. And the music is building.
Time to die, caught up with Mr. Sort of Leatherface with a hell of a day. Is he real? Is he real? Is he real? Is he pull it and spray?
It's very musical in the construction of the instrumental. And Crazy, we didn't know the musical talent that Crazy had at this point. We thought he was a phenomenal rapper. What an incredible style. It's what we were saying when we tried to get it down. But we did not know what was inside him. First off, it was like 3 songs in one. It's 3 songs in one. You know the beginning. They want to see the bone gone.
They want to see the bone gone. They want to see the bone gone.
Then it breaks into that piano part. Then, hey, do you want to come and play with me?
Hey, it's alright, it's alright. Tell me, do you want to come and play with me?
Roll with a gun in my hand and I can't understand it.
Roll with a gun in my hand and I can't understand. I be ran with the murder mode.
But that's not the part that I'm talking about. Dog, the pandemonium. It wasn't pandemonium only. It was every emotion, the buildup, and the explosion. It still gets me to this day.
Screams are not needed. Too late when you proceed to bleed blood. Yeah, your mercy screams are not needed. Too late when you proceed to bleed blood.
Absolute greatest moment of all their productions. Because of the build-up, because of the climax, because of the crescendo climax that happens there. It's the most magical freaking moment, perhaps in all music. Well, I don't know. There's Mariah Carey. When I think of the most magical moment, that crescendo climax on pretty amazing, and her climax on Mariah's theme is pretty amazing as well. Who's an angel from heaven, and we won't deny Whitney Houston had the absolute greatest climax of all time on "I Will Always Love You" from the Bodyguard soundtrack. I mean, I don't think anything touches that. I think everybody remembers that one. Crazy Bones, Mo Murder crescendo climax.
Your mercy screams are not needed. Too late when you proceed to bleed blood. Yeah, your mercy screams are not needed. Too late when you proceed to bleed blood.
Phenomenal. Now, let's look at this album. It's pretty neat how they broke it up. Graveyard Shift had 2 tracks, and Too True had 3 songs, and obviously they were on No Pretender and Family Scriptures. Trey had 2 songs. They also did the intro. They're on Thug Devotion, Family Scriptures. Poetic Hustlers, you know, it's weird. I remember them having 2 songs, but I couldn't name what the second one is. Searching for Peace is the first track. And, all right, here's another thought. I wonder if you guys thought when you got this. So you pop it in, you hear the intro. Cool. You know, it's Trey singing. Crazy's got a little bit of going on. But the first song hits is Poetic Hustler, Searching for Peace. And what I'm curious to know is, when I first heard them come in, I was like, yo, it's like East 99 is where you find me. It's like me. Jesus, can you help us save our soul because we're searching for peace? I was like, yo, they got more rappers that rap just like them. This is amazing. I'm like, it's like Bone, but it's not Bone. It's Mo Thug. And so Poetic Hustlers did their thing. But again, my memory remembers them having 2 tracks. They only have 1, but you know, Boogie Night is on No Pretender. And obviously, they're all on Family Scriptures. So, theoretically, 1 song, 2 features. Crazy Bone has Mo Murder. Also, dog, Low Down Dirty Shame. Let me just cut right to that one real quick. Low Down Dirty Shame may be the only song in the history of the thousands and thousands of Bone songs that somebody went round for round, toe for toe, and matched Crazy Bone. Okay, Crazy's done features with everybody. Maybe Tech 9 on Worldwide Choppers, but that was a verse, chorus thing. Soulja Boy and Crazy Bone blend that third verse together. And Soulja Boy was so memorable with just a single song along with his verse on Thug Devotion that instant fan favorite. Only guy that I could think of that ever did a, like a Redman Method Man song, and it was a Soulja Boy Crazy Bone song. I don't even know if there's any Bone songs where it was a duo that was going back and forth with Crazy. The way, I mean, you could say like Universe and Let's Vibe, just vibe, but it's not the same.
I got my money, my pistol, my refund, never forget my thugs. What? Hey, we slay, we spray. We pray every day, still I see that you and me just don't mix.
Dog, Low Down Dirty Shame, such a phenomenal song. The existence of Mo Murder, Low Down Dirty Shame, Thug Devotion, those 3 songs right there, if you remove them out of the Bone history, it's not the same. It's not the same. Your love for Bone is not the same. It's not to the level. So when I see people just say, Mo Thugs, whatever, I'm like, dog. There's 3. And actually, Ghetto Blues, Too True and Lazy Bone, that song is phenomenal as well. Everything about it. So there's 4, No Pretender. Okay. In fact, when we got to hear the story from Jazz, where she said that the instructions were each camp had to send their best guy. So Graveyard Shift sent Tombstone, Poetic Hustlers sent Boogie Nike, and Too True sent Jazz.
I thought my verse on No Pretender snapped.
You got your blue suit, you got your nine. Word, if you pop one time, I choose, got my back up tight and I'm in mine.
And Brina and Arch pumped me up so much. They was like, they only taking one person from each group. And Jazz, we decided it's you, and you gonna have to front. So I was like, now that I felt more so than our album, because like I said, Brina wasn't on there, and I felt pressured about that song. So I pulled that out the mud.
To represent. And obviously Crazy Bone at the time, if you ever read the book The Alchemist, Crazy Bone had the spirit within him. And in fact, the spirit may have been the brightest, maybe it was on Art of War, but this right here, this is when Crazy Bone became the granddaddy of the Midwest, but he wasn't a granddaddy yet. But this was the moment, bro. The artwork, bro, because, all right, what else? What else is going on there? Trey, Take Your Time, dog. There's a music video for Take Your Time. Crazy Bone looking so cool in it, sitting on the chair with the hat, and his verse is excellent. And I was excited about Trey. I was like, all right, good. Bone's going to venture out into R&B. Crazy's going to be involved with it. That was going to be, I was hoping that was the direction Bone was going to go. And for whatever reason, it didn't. But this album really was showing, dude, the experimental nature of this. Graveyard Shift, Killing Fields. You know what I'm saying? Like, how unique was that track? And then not only that, you had Rumors and War with Fleshbone on it. Both songs amazing. Dude, the production by Bobby Jones, Archie Blaine, and Romeo Antonio. Dog, unrivaled, man. It's not DJ Unique, but dog, it's the next best thing. You know, that's another thing too, is, you know, it's like, oh, Bone should do an album with DJ Unique again. I'm like, bro, I'd be cool with Bone doing an album with Bobby Jones, Archie Blaine, and Romeo again. Because it's not Eternal, it's not Art of War, it's Mo Thug's Family Scriptures. It stands on its own. It's its own sound. This album, bro, it's all right. So Ken Dog, he's got 2 tracks, 3 features, and I remember people used to say Ken Dog is like the Mo Thug version of Too Short. I agree with that. I was a Too Short fan. The thing with Ken Dog, you know, I used to wonder, I was like, man, is Ken Dog going to have a whole album? Because, you know, Ken Dog did great on Family Scriptures, but I was kind of like, I get it. Like, I can't imagine Ken Dog doing a whole album. Like, I don't need a 16-track Ken Dog album. I'm kind of glad that Ken Dog did the Wishbone thing, and it's not knocking Ken. It's just that, you know, I don't need Too Short has like 30 albums, and I'm like, dog, you don't need 30 albums, bro. For real. Like, I got it By the time Getting It came out, I was like, I get it, bro. I get it. Although, you know what? Too Short does keep evolving. So maybe Ken Dog would have continued to evolve. Actually, you know what? Ken Dog on Did He Really Wanna on Mo Thug 3, that really was impressive. I was like, yo, check that out. Actually, Ken Dog had a pretty dope track on Mo Thugs too. So yeah, Ken Dog might have had a dope album. It's too bad the Ken Dog album did kind of come out, but it's like an underground thing. I don't really count it. I guess what I'm saying is the Ken Dog character was very well defined on the 2 singles that he had, because unlike everybody else, all the rest of them were groups, right? So Graveyard Shift, they had to take turns. Poetic Clusters had to take turns. Too True had to take turns, plus they had features. Whereas Ken Dog had 2 full-length songs plus 3 features. You know, Ken Dog probably benefited the most out of this album, as it felt like he was featured the most. Ghetto Blues by Too True was, again, like I said earlier, with Lazy, phenomenal song. The saxophones were amazing on it. Just the way the song comes in, Ghetto Blues has got me down for the last time. Everything about it was great.
Actually, I can't just gloss over Ghetto Blues. Go listen to Ghetto Blues again. The performance by Jazz and Brina are top notch. In fact, when you listen to it, you're going to think like, man, how is this not a world famous song? Something that's, you know, cherished by everybody. And Lazy coming in, it's funny, his vocals are a little higher than they should be, but it's almost like your ears and your mind are happy that it's mixed a little high, and the blending of the both vocals of the reference track and the other track, it actually works with its own unique feel to it. But yeah, the draw was Lazy. You know, you came for Lazy Bone and you stayed for Too True on Ghetto Blues. The saxophone, the breakdown, the singing of the chorus. This song, Ghetto Blues, one of the best on the album. It is amazing and should be appreciated forever. The Trey songs, I liked Take Your Time more than Here With Me, probably because Crazy Bone was on Take Your Time. But I liked the tone of Take Your Time sounded better to my ear, like the EQ of it, than Here With Me. Surprisingly, Lazy's only on 3 tracks off the top of my head. He's on Ghetto Blues, he's on Thug Devotion, and he's on Family Scriptures. By the way, how uncelebrated is Family Scriptures? For real, when you think about it. This is a posse cut with the whole group. The whole original Mo Thugs, a 6+ minute song. Sure, you know, most people think about like Mo Thug Family Tree or the other side on Mo Thugs 2, but people rarely talk about Family Scriptures, the song. And it's pretty cool. It's a cool track. Flesh had the 2 features. Every day on the way home from school or on the way to school, I used to try to get Albert, who's, you might see him in the comments a lot. We went to high school, we went to elementary school together. But this album came out when we were in high school, and I used to just like ask him, like, yo, please, can we listen to Thug Devotion? We used to hear Mo Murder and Thug Devotion, and Low Down Dirty Shame. So like we used to play those 3 tracks. Then we would hop over to Cypress Hill Skull and Bones album, and then we would hop over to MC8 Death Threats. And by that point, we would get home. Oh, and we would play All Eyes on Me it was a new album at the time too. All right, let's do a run through with this through the booklet just to make sure we covered everything, because I can't see the text. That's way too small. So right off the bat, the intro, like I said, cool little intro. Poetic Hustlers, Searching for Peace. Remind me of the East 99 is Where You Find Me. Too True, Ghetto Blues. Excellent song with the saxophones and Lazy Bone. Down for the Last Time. Amazing song. Like, seriously, if you haven't heard Ghetto Blues in a while, put it in your car or with excellent headphones and just sit back and vibe to it. Everything about that song is produced to perfection. It's phenomenal. Like, it's so good that when people say this album, they don't care about it, I'm like, you just haven't listened to it, because it's musically exceptional. All right, what else? Graveyard Shift, Killing Fields. Cool song. This song
to me, the instrumental to it kind of defines, like when I think of Mo Thug's Family Scriptures, I think of that really hard piano key that gets dun 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 my way. So yeah, really good. It's Graveyard Shift. Graveyard Shift is an acquired taste. Graveyard Shift is not for everybody, but you heard Romeo talk about how amazed he was with Tombstone, and this song is cool. It's really cool. You can't deny Killing Fields. Crazy Bone, Mo Murder. I already said the crescendo climax of this song is the peak moment in the history of Bone, in my opinion. My opinion doesn't have to be your opinion, but I do want to know, did you go through a spiritual, soul, physical transformation, and did your appreciation for Crazy Bone as the man, the friggin' man, did it begin at that moment? Because I was, I liked all four. Crazy was a standout guy. Like he, with Eternal, I liked all of them. Everybody was so amazing on Eternal. But bro, that moment is what catapulted. I was instantaneously, I was like, that's Crazy forever from here on out. At that moment, this moment, freaking magic. Mo Murder. Gazillions agree, and the whole, the sounds of silence or noise or whatever the heck the sample is, people love that thing. And dog, also think about this, man. On Beyond the Harmony, we've had Tony Tone, Mo Hart, Boogie Night may be coming soon, Archie Blaine. Actually, yeah, we've had both the Too True. If you catch the live at the very end, Brina shows up. So this is the amazingness of Beyond. Like, this is real life, bro. Graveyard Shift obviously couldn't have Tombstone, but we had Gates, we had 101, and we had Sin. So the surviving Graveyard Shift has been on Beyond the Harmony. Ken Dog, we've had Ken Dog. And Trey, we almost had. Maybe someday. And we've had Soulja Boy on multiple times. And we had Mo Hart on multiple times. Someday, maybe Flesh. Wait, I didn't get through the tracks. I got sidetracked here, talking about Mo Murder and just being amazed at the reality of Beyond the Harmony. All right, so now, Ken Dog, ain't no reason for these games these hoes play, bro. Ken Dog, smooth, bro. Smooth, too short. Trey, take your time. We talked about it. There's a music video for it. It would have been cool if Ken Dog had his own music video. Too True, Welcome to My World, featuring Ken Dog. Cool track. That instrumental was there. Ken Dog blends so good with Too True. Mo Thug's Thug Devotion. I already told you, we used to play this thing on the way home from school. Do the commercial for this with Lazy Bones verse. Everybody came correct on this song, man. Crazy's verse is one of my favorite verses ever. Soulja Boy, one of my favorite ever. Lazy Bone killed it. The magic. And Trey did it. And Ken Dog takes it home at the end, too. Players from everywhere, staying true to the game, riding real. Well, it's prepared. Got my mind focused on this whole boat. Dog, Ken Dog, bro. Trey, Here With Me. Talked about it. I like the other one better, but, still a good song. Mo Thug's No Pretender. Bro. This song is so friggin' epic. And it's buried in the gazillion phenomenal songs that Bone has. When they put Ghetto Cowboy on the greatest hits, I remember thinking that not having Thug Devotion and not having No Pretender, just giving that some love was kind of... Although I guess they're not hits, they're album tracks. Well, no, Thug Devotion was an actual single. But No Pretender, fire, fire, fire... Ken Dog, Player in Me. Like I said, I got my fill of Ken Dog on the album. This is an iconic picture of Trey, too, by the way. Graveyard Shift, Rumors and War. Cool title, along with Killing Fields. Got Flesh Bone on it. What were you... The haters on this album is like, what are you looking for, bro? You get Flesh, you get Lazy, you get Crazy. Oh, this album didn't even need Busy to be phenomenal. Can you imagine if Busy was on this, though? Soulja Boy, Low Down. Oh, my goodness, man. This is Low Down Dirty Shame. One of the best songs in the whole collection as well. Like, for this to not be on the greatest hits, even though it wasn't a single. But if they made a best of or a box set, Lowdown's got to be on that. This Too True song by Too True, they just said Too True way too many times on it. It kind of, this one I used to kind of pass on. Nothing against Too True, is just that there's only so much, like, I didn't listen to this intro that much either because there was a lot of repetition. When stuff is repeated too much, it's hard for replayability. It's kind of like Rebirth by Bone. I wish the chorus didn't happen after every verse. It's just too much chorus. The verses are so great. The instrumental is so great. And Thin C is great on it. It's just too much. But that's just me. Some people like repetition. All right, I feel like I missed something. All right, then you got Mo Thugs Family Scriptures. Like, they even go out with a bang with a whole posse cut. So you get a compilation. So this is also what made the consistency of this. They introduce you to all these groups, okay? And at the middle of the album, you get hit with Thug Devotion, right? So it's almost the whole family. And then at the end, they made sure, like, everybody's getting on this thing. So as a compilation, this was done correct. This wasn't just, let's just throw a bunch of stuff on here, even though they might tell you it is, like, all right, let's take this song for Graveyard Shift, take one from Too True, take one from Trey, take one from Poetic Hustlers, take one from Ken Dog, and Soulja Boy, and slap it all together. I wish there was another Soulja Boy track on this thing. All right, there's only 2 tracks I might pass on, and that's the second Trey song and the Too True song called Too True, just because it's too much Too True. But it was 16 tracks? All right, and minus the intro, I'd play this whole thing. I play this whole thing. And if it's just playing, I could live with the Too True song, and I could live with the Trey song. It's not like I don't like them. It's just those are the 2 like least played songs that I would do. When I had this at the time, though, honestly, if it was in Albert's car, the 3 joints we were playing for sure was start him off with Mo Murder, hit him with Thug Devotion, and then hit him with Low Down Dirty Shame. And then if we're stuck at a red light, we're gonna put on Ghetto Blues. Those are the 4 absolute standouts, but no Pretender, Family Scriptures, Graveyard Shift. Everything was great here. This is a top-notch album in the collection that is not respected. Many knock the Mo Thugs artists. I think they're just thinking of the time period. There was so many great rappers, and there was Bone Thugs and Harmony, that you could be picky and choosy back then when you're living in a world when there's a living Tupac at this time. Tupac, well, by this point, Tupac was dead. Yeah, he was dead by November 96. He died in September. But All Eyes on Me was a double CD. Machiavelli just came out, so it was like he was still alive. These poor Mo Thugs had to compete with Machiavelli, freshly dead, on the day this came out. Okay, poor Mo Thugs had to go up against Machiavelli out the gate. And then the next week, poor Flesh had to go against The Dogfather by Snoop Dogg. But that tells you what period of time we were in. You had Outkast dropping ATLiens this year. There was so much to listen to that I think if it wasn't what somebody wanted, it's like, just pass it. There's just so much other excellent stuff going on. We were living through like the greatest time of rap music. But this album gets better over time because you had real musicians, Bobby Jones and Romeo and Archie, doing the production on this. And when you have that gives it its timelessness. This album is timeless. This is a timeless album. And I know some of you might be like, "Yo, John, we all love this album, dog. Why are you upset?" You don't see the quantity of comments that we get. But also over the years on the boards, I've just seen, the Mo Thugs get knocked and people not fully appreciate this. Like, dog, this was the 4th full length, and really, does Faces of Death count? I mean, so if you're counting Creepin', and went Creepin', Eternal, Mo Thugs, the consistency of this with, this is kind of like the Bone Thugs and Harmony logo. It's got the red. This is, it looks similar. It's in the universe. It's in the universe of Eternal, and it gave you the familiarity of what you already liked and introduced new things. But Poetic Hustlers sounds very similar to Bone. Graveyard Shift, while they don't sound like Bone, it feels like it's part of the same. It feels connected. Additionally, Poetic Hustlers and Graveyard Shift are on East 99 Eternal. Doesn't that qualify them as being part of the holy storyline? They were the only features on Eternal. They're on Eternal. That means they count forever. It's all connected. And it's amazing. So, all right, I talked way too long about this album, but I've been wanting to do this for years. I've been wanting to talk about that Mo Murder crescendo climax moment for years. And I've seen people comment over the years how much Mo Murder, meant to them. This is your chance to sound off on it. Now, if you think I'm wrong, some people say, and I loved when I saw this, they said, nah, Crazy Bones verse on Family Tree, they said belongs in a museum. Music. Okay, this is what it is. At the time period, hip hop was very strict. You couldn't veer too far, especially since if you go back to EPMD's song, The Crossover, they were very upset with rappers that would blend R&B. A lot of people, history forgets this, but Big Daddy Kane was highly criticized for dropping not so much Taste of Chocolate, but Prince of Darkness. That album ruined Big Daddy Kane's legacy. He was able to restore it, but people were really mad about Prince of Darkness album. And EPMD with The Crossover was where they basically said, like, you got to be strictly hip hop. You can't do the R&B. MC Ren had songs against it as well. The Final Frontier. So if you check The Final Frontier by MC Ren, he was mad about it. And so, rappers wanted to keep it real. I wasn't like it. I liked Bone because I liked groups that were experimental, that explored the space. And I didn't even know Bone could be as experimental as they were with the Mo Murder. You guys are used to hearing it now. You've heard it for 28 years. But everything about that instrumental is tremendously experimental, blending 3 songs into one, and the singing about it. It was crazy all on his own. It's like the first single. This is the first Crazy Bone single. So this is him on his own without his buddies. It's just him. He's like, this is my intro to me. And it was a grand slam first at bat. And this has been Crazy's my favorite. So I'm not saying like it was all downhill from this. Right? Crazy's made a gazillion phenomenal songs. There's so many you can't even list them all. But this moment, dog, like when I heard it the first time, dog, there was this feeling in my whole body that, like I said, I don't even think it was my spirit. Like I physically felt my insides modify permanently. Like something inside me modified, or like I felt like I went through another layer of puberty or a growth spurt. Actually, it was a permission. It was like getting not just permission, but also instruction on how to go outside your boundaries or go outside the boundaries, not so much your own personal boundaries, but the boundaries of what's acceptable in hip hop in this case. But not just that, just all the way around it. Crazy broke all the rules doing that song. That was the thing I really thought about, was like, dog, this guy Crazy Bone, he is breaking the rules. He's doing what he wants to do. He's not following the crowd. He's being tremendously individualistic here, tremendously expressive in ways that hip hop had not seen before, especially by someone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. Granted, the name Thugs and Harmony indicates like, hey, this is what we do, but not in the way he did it. Yes, by today's standards. No, in 1996. I just thought, this is so different. This is so on its own. This is so against the rules of what's been established as acceptable. And I know all that sounds strange now, but in 96, if we were there, right, you'd get it. You'd be like, yeah, this was crossing the line, stretching the boundaries, going to where no one had gone before. And I forever respected Crazy for doing that. I wish he kept doing that. He has in ways, but Nothing was quite like this. It was trailblazing, groundbreaking. I think also that this song, "Mo Murder," modified careers of other people. I think this was the one that let other people know, yo, it is really cool to do something outside of the norm. But really was my comprehension of what could be, of what rap music could be. And the future I thought Crazy Bone was going to have from hearing this song is really what's kept me hanging on all this time. And he's never, what I envisioned for both Crazy and Busy never fully materialized. And it's a shame, but simultaneously they had great careers and they made thousands of great songs. But hearing what was inside of Crazy, the expression that it seemed like he wanted to make, it was like this was his test run to say hey, you guys want to find out what's really inside of me? Yeah, I could rap, but man, I could change your whole entire physical interior of your organs and your endocrine system and your digestive system and your circulatory system and your nervous system. He was like, are y'all ready for this? I don't think you guys are. Y'all ready for this? Nah, you ain't ready for this. It was like Crazy's test run to say hey, I want to show you. And I remember thinking, I'm like, I think people aren't going to be ready for this. And it's a damn shame that we're never going to find the full Anthony Henderson, because to me, hearing it, I'm like, this dude wants to say something. Not only it's not even that he wants to say something, he wants to express something musically that he knows that hip hop is not ready for. And I was hoping that at some point it was going to happen, but it's like that spirit was ripped out of him somewhere after Thug Mentality 99, and it's never came back. And it's like a different Crazy Bone. It's the first what if. But at least we got that moment. Regardless, to all the Mo Thugs, all of them, even the ones that haven't been on the show yet, you guys put out a great album. You should be tremendously proud about this. This was a worthy third full-length release, Faces of Death Not Counting. I love this album. I love the moment. When I think of this album, I think of the election. I think of Tupac turning into Machiavelli. I think of Fleshbone getting a promotion to general of the Mo Thugs. I think of this amazing CD. I think of this amazing album cover. I think of this amazing photograph. I think all of these cool pictures of all these new guys that got introduced to us. Poetic Hustlers, this was so well done. And I think of Bobby Jones. I think of Archie Blaine. I think of Romeo Antonio. I think of Crazy growing up. This was the major moment for Crazy. And then he just blows us away with a double CD, which some say, oh yeah, The Art of War, that's Crazy Bone featuring Bone Thugs and Harmony. And I ain't even mad at it. But, so Beyond the Harmony, let me know. Am I overstating something here? Or was this album... It's not eternal. Nothing is eternal. Nothing will ever be eternal. Nothing is eternal. Okay? But Eternal aside, Art of War aside, I think this is in the top 10 Bone albums all time. I mean, would you rather have this, or would you rather have The World's Enemy, or World War III, or Thug Stories? But I'm going to do a video on The World's Enemy at some point. So on behalf of Cecil West, Matthew Weaver, RC Thugster, and Jordan Corey, I am Jonathan Lippy. I thank you guys for sitting through this one with me. I love to tell my Bone stories, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.